Hi everyone. So I have something new for you. This is Noble Dutch. So, just a quick little thing about them. They make high quality, plant-based and convenient food that fuel your body and fits your routine. Whether you're juggling work, family, fitness, or personal goals, they make sure that you always have access to wholesome, gluten-free meals that, of course, you can trust. So, they have basically meals that you can get that are tasty, healthy, and ready in just 8 minutes. And again, it's vegetarian, it's gluten-free, and it's packed with 11 grams of protein. Yes, please. They have some meals, for example, like the instant jasmine rice and tomato sauce. And again, that's ready in 8 minutes. And it comes in 12 bowls, a carton, and it contains ingredients like jasmine rice, tomato sauce, chili oil, soya chunks, carrot and peas, and a spoon in case you need that as well. So basically, it's quick and easy. You would pour that jasmine rice and the carrots and those peas into a bowl, and then you would add boiling water up to the marked line inside of that bowl, close the lid and let it sit for 8 minutes. And then you would open, add the needed amount of tomato sauce and chili oil into that bowl, stir and enjoy. Very simple, very easy. So you can earn Dunch points with every meal. You can basically get a point per dollar that you spend. You can get 60 free birthday Dunch points, and you can get 50 points per referral when you refer a friend as well. And that all kind of adds up. So if you're interested in that and you want to take part in this, you can head over to my link that helps support not only Noble Dutch, but also supports the podcast. And that is going to nobledunch.com/HEKVNLEC. And that link will also be in the show notes. Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or Learn About Me episode once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore. We're currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt ×2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt ×2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt ×2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be coming in with a surprise kind of episode for another Married at First Sight. This is going to be obviously the final one because I have finished the season. So I did watch the reunion episode, and I've got thoughts. Very happy to see Kevin here with us. Yay to Kevin. No experts. I just realized that the experts never came in like they normally would, but you know what? It's fine. But I'm just going to go through couple by couple. So I didn't see Brittany and Will, because as I mentioned in the other episode, that didn't actually finish the episode knowing what happened there. Because for me, I guess kind of what's been happening with these episodes that are airing on network television, it's cuts off some of the episodes. So I never saw Will's answer, but he did say yes. So this was the first time that we had all 5 couples say yes on decision day. And I bet this is the first time of all of those couples that every single one of them said no later on. So that was my takeaway, that no one's together. No one's together. But I'm going to go in order of how they did it in the reunion, just so I can keep my wits about me here. So Jalen and Josh, they started with them not together, as I just mentioned. She mentions that or they say they hadn't been together for about 3 months. They were together for, I guess the year and a half, or just about the year and a half, because it's been a year and a half since filming for this reunion. And they, she says, well, let me go backwards. Burning Man, not a problem. She went to Burning Man and actually said that she was going to go again, which I'm surprised. She said she understood now, like, what he meant about community, which is great. She said she did have a good time, dressing the part, going to the parties, doing all of that. And she looked damn good doing it. And so, yeah, she did that. They did other festivals, other concerts. She's making the effort to come out of her shell in order to make this marriage work. They go on vacation. He pretty much says on vacation that he doesn't feel as connected with her anymore, just randomly. And even though they, I guess, try to see if they can make it work, about 3 or 4 days later, he's like, nah, I can't. This isn't working for me anymore. And they haven't spoken since. The fuck? And he's mincing, like, oh no, we didn't break up on vacation. Okay, fine, you said that, and then you came home and then you did it. And then there was another thing where he said something about, like, oh, right, okay, this is what happened. She said, after that conversation on vacation, they went to a concert, and she's feeling obviously insecure in the moment because you just said you don't want to be with me anymore. And you're just seeing if this can still work. And some woman, whether this means anything or not, some woman kind of comes near them, acts like she knows him, but doesn't, or whatever. And he was like, no, I don't know her. And Jalen's like, did you have sex with her? He's like, that's not what happened. And then literally reiterates everything she just said. The only difference is that he said that she said, oh, did you fuck her? Did you fuck her? That's literally what she said. Just because she didn't use the word fuck, that's literally what she said, though. Like, really? I came out of this thinking, oh, so you're dumb. I don't like you, sir. Because then he kind of goes into this whole thing about, I just really wanted someone who's going to be just as passionate about these things as I am. Basically, it's like you were concerned that she wouldn't do it. Then she does it and was going to do it again. And then you make it about, oh, I just want someone that is more passionate about it. Did she or did she not literally say, maybe you need to be with somebody who is as passionate about this as you are? Because that is not me. You still decided to do this and then want to turn around and be like, well, you're just not as passionate about it as I am. I think it's a cop out. I think it's a lie. I think for whatever freaking reason, he's not into her and he's just trying to find an excuse. It's the weirdest thing because it's like, you made it seem like you care about whether or not your partner's into this, but it's okay either way you flip it. But then she does those things and then you still have a problem with it. It's just weird. And I came away from it kind of just being like, I feel like you're full of shit. Really. It's the weird it was very weird, but that's them. Then we move on to her mom, Belinda. I remember her name now. And Chad, that's it. Chad's her husband. Okay. So yes, not together. And I'm not surprised by that at all. I thought it was a bad idea for them to even try to make it work. But that seemed to ring true because y'all, oh my God. Was it she said 5 days, I think, afterwards, they go or she goes to his house planning to move stuff in. He apparently has a cat that we never saw on camera because the cat is anxious. Okay, that's fine. She has her dog. And to me, it sounds like what was described, at least on Belinda's part, and no offense, but I'm going to believe her a little bit more here, was that the dog was a very curious dog, sees this cat, this other animal, and wants to get acquainted with the animal. Now, do I understand the cat being scared? 100%. This is a foreign animal that's not been in the house before and is all of a sudden now in the house. Totally get it. But then what ends up happening is that the cat ends up scratching Chad, and Chad gets angry, yells at Belinda for the cat scratching him because the dog was curious. He said the dog was being aggressive, or she said that he said the dog was being aggressive. And, that's whatever. I don't think the dog is being aggressive. I think the dog is being curious because it's a dog. Dogs are curious, right? Animals in general are curious. So I doubt the dog was aggressive. And I doubt that Belinda would have put the cat in a situation where that would have happened if she knew her dog was aggressive. I don't get that from the dog at all. And yeah, the biggest takeaway for me is when the cameras are gone, he was the one that was aggressive. He's the one that, and to me, it's like he was, how she accounted it was verbally abusive and just not okay. She basically says she took her stuff and she dipped. She never went back there again. But we get video footage, just feels like cuties moments. Let me tell you, we have video footage of um a gathering at Megan's house. Um, that same night, and obviously tension can be cut with a knife. And Belinda's kind of just saying, bad day, stressful day. And when confronted, Chad, when he's confronted about, and Jalen tries to keep neutral initially, but at the end of the day, that's her mom. But she tries to stay neutral in the beginning and kind of just like, you know, I understand that you got hurt and blah, 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 like whatever. And he just blows up and he's like, if this is a setup, like, I'm not going to do it. And literally, like, he berates Jalen in that moment for standing up for her mother, what daughter wouldn't? Because I know for me, if that was my mother, beware. And it's happened where I have literally come for people because someone's coming at my mother. No, 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 no. That's not gonna happen. That's not how this works. So I understood Jalen trying to defend her mom in that moment. And he gets up and he's just like, fuck y'all. That's what he like, or fuck everybody or something like that. And it was just so, he wants to talk aggressive. That's aggressive. And says, get this mic off of me. This was clearly an ambush. Fuck everybody. Like, and Jalen's crying because it's like, how dare you talk to people that way? And here's the thing. He says, I felt like I was being judged for having anxiety. And that's the thing. I think Belinda does say to him, you're triggered by the cameras. You're triggered by, scheduling. Now you're triggered by the dog because he said the dog triggered him. No, the cat scratching you because they were scared, maybe was the thing that triggered you. Dog didn't trigger you. And here's the thing. He's like, oh, you can only have one type of anxiety. No, that's not what she's saying. What she's saying is you're always constantly moving the goalposts. This is this. This is this. And it's like you're not being clear, right? Now I listen. I know that this person is a veteran, I believe, if I'm correct. He is a veteran. I get it. Thank you for your service. And I understand, depending on what you've seen, what you've dealt with, whether or not you've been deployed, all of those things come into effect, that you may have some anxiety, maybe even PTSD, depending on what you've seen, what you've dealt with. And I know some of that is completely out of your control. But when I see in this case, this person come in, he's clearly masking because I got the feeling something isn't right with him, but I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't until seeing how he was treating producers and stuff like that. I'm like, I felt like something was off, but you can see he's clearly trying to mask or whatever. Whether it's masking or you are faking, which, well, faking, masking, same thing, but masking for me, it's very different. You're trying to fit in, knowing something is different about you. Faking, it's like you're just being a dick. Like, I don't know what the deal is with him, but just because you're dealing with some form of a mental illness, potentially, doesn't give you the right to treat people like shit. And the thing is that, and I don't know, Chad, maybe this is all correct, but people kind of coming in and kind of saying, he has a good heart, he's a good person, he very well might be, but those are different situations. Being in an intimate relationship with somebody is totally different than being a friend or a coworker, So it you're seeing a different side of him versus what Belinda's gonna see. And that's the thing. And seeing how he just yeah, like he couldn't handle a conversation and it didn't look good. And when Kevin literally tries to say to him, because Kevin is the kind of host that is going to come for people if needed. We've seen him do it. He literally says, like, that's not a good look, you know? And Chad gets, again, in this moment, his back up and is rude. And it's kind of like, you want me to explain, so you need to shut up and let me explain. Who the fuck do you think you talking to? No one talks to Kevin that way. Rude. You just got here. Kevin's been here. You know what I mean? Rude as ever. And it's after that that he's kind of saying, I apologize for how I handle things. It's not nice seeing yourself being portrayed in that way, this, that, and the other. But it's like, but sir, just literally 2 seconds ago, you're giving Kevin attitude because he is trying to hold you accountable. Do I believe you when you say, I don't like how I was portrayed, and I'm trying to do better. I don't. To be totally honest with you, I really don't. But anyways, Chad and Belinda. The next couple we go to after that was Brittany and Will. And we learn a little bit about what happened with them, which seemed the quick succession, similarly to Belinda and Chad, seemed to happen with Brittany and Will as well. And it they had the decision day. Obviously, as we know, he said yes. He basically had to go on a work trip like not long after that. He was gone for about a week. Comes back and it's like she said, I just felt it. I knew he didn't want to continue. And another video clip of, I guess when they were still living in the apartments, and there's video footage of their breakup. And she's like, he was very cold, very matter of fact. And we see the clip, and she's trying to, here's another thing, ladies, don't beg. Don't beg. And listen, I've done it. I've done the begging. But you start the begging, you do the begging, and then you quickly realize, why the hell am I begging? My story time. Well, let me finish this and I'll do my story time. Because when he's like packing all of this, and she's like, please don't do this, please don't do this, let's talk about this, let's try to make this work, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, tell me you love me. Oh God, that broke me, because I'm like, girl, don't be begging like that. And he doesn't budge. He's like, nah, it's not going to change anything. I'm not staying. There's nothing more to say. And he leaves. And she took that as him being cold, him being mean. So, story time. Story time it is. And this story time, y'all, it's going over to the Patreon. You're not going to hear this on the main feed. So if you want to hear story time, you can head on over to the Patreon where that is going to be, because this is very personal. Story time is starting now. So, but that's what happened. Story time over. So that's what happens. And you just never beg a person for their love. It's just not gonna look good. But anyways, so when she said like he was very mean and stuff like that, he says, like, I felt like I had to be that way because she wasn't believing me otherwise, or the things that I would say, sometimes she felt like she had hope. And that might be tough to hear as the other person, but I understood him. I 100% understood exactly what he was talking about. And here's why. Story time again, y'all. This is also going to the Patreon. So if you want to hear the story again, head on over to the Patreon where this episode will be. Story time is starting now. Story time over. But that's why I understood Will in this moment. Because she wasn't getting it. The writing was all there. This man did not want this with her. And I think he really was trying to see if he can get there, but it just wasn't going to happen. So I understood. I understood him. I did. Now the whole like weird situation of like she wrote him a letter and all of this, and how he was saying that the leasing office, that she'd been there multiple times, like as if she's stalking him or something. That was weird. And they said, well, Jalen lives there. So I'm, they're probably seeing me because I'm going to go see Jalen. It basically saying this ain't nothing to do with you. Anyways, otherwise, they seem fine. It is what it is. Um, Pat and Rhonda, there we go. Obviously not together. Could have told you that. But apparently, like what I wasn't expecting was that for him, the issue is like lack of sex. And I guess the different views on intimacy as well. So that was like the issue for him because she said they were together for 9 months. Things started to seem to do a lot better after he had gone to Europe for about a month and came back. And she said everything seemed just better. And but 10 days had gone by after he came back. And he, I guess, she said they were going to go ride bikes. He's listening to a meditation on, on anger. So she kind of interpreted that as you're angry. Oh, and are you angry because we haven't had sex in 10 days? Yikes. So, although I can understand where he's coming from, like the lack of physicality, um, yes, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, but really? I mean, so nothing changes no matter how old you are? You don't try to do a little bit better? My goodness. But, yeah, for her, like when she kind of is like, I wasn't physically attracted to him because I'm attracted, not physically attracted, that's not what I'm saying. Wrong thing to say. She wasn't turned on because she needs to be turned on by a person who knows what they want. And because he walked in there being like, I don't want to stay married, but then I do want to stay married. She took that as he doesn't seem to know what he wants. Okay, ma'am. That was 9 months prior, though. When do you get over that? And if that is the case, then why didn't you change your own mind and say, no, you know what? No, thank you. Because I want to be chosen, not like be a afterthought or whatever. Oh, you know what I mean? It is kind of again shows to me that she is constantly taking no accountability for her part and is pushing it all on him. Do I think he's perfect? No, not at all. But it's, yeah, that seemed very weird to me because I'm just like, what are you talking about? But, um, yeah, he basically says that he, learned that he needs to basically put himself first and don't sell himself short, which is essentially kind of what he did in this situation. Um, but hey, and she realizes that because she was a single mom for, most of her children's lives, that she tends to want to control situations, which I totally get. Totally understand that. But that she can't control him. So I wish them the best, truly. So the final couple that we talked to here is Megan and what's his name? I don't remember his name. Anyways, but Megan and him. I don't know. You know what? I kind of like the longer hair better for him. Didn't like the short hair as much. Doesn't suit him. But anyways, this is just trigger warning for what we're going to talk about here. This is a really tough topic, and where I'm at in my life, this is a very tough topic. Not that I've experienced this, but um, it's sad all around. So just trigger warning. Um, so when they go to them and they ask them, last time we saw you guys, you were saying yes on decision day, you were planning for your baby. And immediately Megan just starts to cry. And it's in that moment when I saw her crying, I'm like, oh no, oh no. I am very scared for her right now. And she says, well, she miscarried the baby. And it appears to have happened pretty soon after decision day. And obviously, something as traumatic as pregnancy loss affected her, affected him, affected their relationship. And when the relationship is so new already, um, it's probably a very tough thing to try and navigate. And they did therapy, they did the whole thing, trying to mend their relationship as well as deal with the loss. Um, and he, I guess, is basically one day just said, I'm not in love with you anymore. Just like that. And she's, and she said that he did it over the phone. And she's like, I deserve better than that. And then that he came a week later and got his stuff. She said, I deserve better than that. And yeah, anyone deserves better than that. And it was really sad. It was really sad. And the other thing that was said here, usually I don't talk about these things, but I want to talk about it here. He's moved on. He's in a relationship or some form of relationship. He's been with somebody for about 7 months. And he says, everything's going good. Things are great. She's excited to be a mom. Y'all, he's excited. She's excited to be a mom. I literally took that and like, is that a dig at her? Because she never once said that she was ever going to be excited to be a mom. And when it happened, it happened. She was pregnant. She was going to be someone's mother. And she's not a mother, right? Well, we take that back. She is a mother, whether she carried that baby to term or not. She is a mother. She lost her baby. Um, and to hear him say that felt like a dig at her. And it made me not like him. And it was just unnecessary. And when he said that, like, they got into a really bad fight and things were said, it made me wonder. Things were said and they had a very nasty fight. I wonder if he would really say to her, potentially say to her, like, it's your fault. That, something sick like that, you know, just because of the fact that he said this woman he's with is excited to be a mom. It just felt weird of a thing to say. But I don't think I've missed anything. Oh, I do want to say this. Megan did say, like, after the break that happened, that she completely forgot all the good and remembered all the bad. But, it's a typical thing. You do to protect yourself, right? But when she watched the show back and she saw, oh, there was good, there was a lot of good, it just reopened that wound for her. And I felt bad for that as well. But I think that's pretty much the gist of it. I just do want to say, she's not listening to this, but if she is, I am very sorry for what you went through. Sorry for the loss of the baby. And I can't imagine um, what that feels like and having to go through the loss of that and then the loss of your marriage, what appears to have been in fairly quick succession. Because I mean, you never truly heal emotionally from a pregnancy loss. And you can tell how raw it is still for her. Um, so to have to go through that and then maybe in a matter of months having to go through your marriage dissolving it's a lot. And um she's very strong for that. I do have to say. But that's it, y'all. That's the reunion. And we are no experts. But that's basically it, y'all. This was I do really like this I do like this formatting of the show. I think it's good. But anyways, that is it for me. And that's it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for this, for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can like, follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod. I believe you can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you could tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, where we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, you go solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.